I'll minimize the season.
Bothered now,
I will-
wake up bothered,
when I need it,
go to sleep bothered.
or,
Bothered all day. Yeah, we're gonna start the meeting with a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty, and justice for all. I'd like to open the public hearing. Council is reviewing a draft proposal for a homestead exemption. Council is seeking public comment on the proposal. I've opened the hearing. If anyone would like to comment, now would be the time. Just give it a minute. Well, last chance, homestead. Public hearing comments, anyone? Not seeing any, I am going to close the public hearing. Thank you.
Make a motion on that.
Have it down in the agenda.
Go ahead.
Announcement, Saturday, November 22nd at 1 PM at the Brownell Library is hosting Braver Angels. This is a mission to bring Americans together to bridge the partisan divide and strengthen our democratic republic. Approval of minutes. We have an amendment. I'm going to read the amendment. It was just a typo, I think. Council Mataronis comment, the solicitors approved the draft proposed for the homestead exemption. The solicitor comment the General Assembly should receive by December 31st, 2025. Jim Locke, resident of Quixon Pond Road, reviewed slides of examples of proposed homestead exemption savings. Council Ariani Moore arrived at 7:38. Vincent Kennedy, resident of Big Drum Road, asked if there's any part of the proposal unique that would be a barrier, or here's the change, to cause a delay for approval to the legislation. The solicitor responded, this proposal is unique proposal, but doesn't, there's another change, see it as a barrier or a bar, another amendment to the approval being limited to Little Compton. Motion made by Mataronis. Receiving a second by Talbot, voting in favor, Moore, Mataronis, McHugh, motion Talbot to schedule a public hearing for homestead exemption. I'll make a motion to approve the amended minutes.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Department head reports done. Old business one, receive recommendation from allowable bus transportation users ad hoc committee. We had a committee that looked at our two vans. And they're here to give us a recommendation. Jonathan is our Chief Information Officer. He was on the committee. Would you like to give us a brief recommendation?
Certainly can. Thank you for having me. So conclusions regarding the tasks that you guys set out for us. Regarding terminology, term senior bus has caused some confusion. Allowable use for the two buses. So the committee recommends standardizing on the Little Compton Community Van Program terminology. Community access, or the mission to provide community access and provide a more accurate description of the program itself. We offer vans. They are distinctly not buses. In other words, there is not a senior van and the van, there are two community vans. Establishing a formal van program coordinator type role will provide a clear point of contact both for residents of the town, but also as a liaison to the town administrator. Both implement and enforce some type of policy that will ensure we're complying with all legal assurance and documentation requirements, which they did a thorough review of and found that we are currently in compliance with everything that is required of us across the board. So with that, our focus turned to documenting the compliance and clarifying that oversight. Committee has drafted a policy, which has been included with the materials we submitted to you, which outlines the operational requirements for the community van program. There is one caveat to that we want to point out. While recommended by the trust, no further enforcement, which is not required for individuals who are volunteers. So the existing program is free to function as it continues. Volunteers are considered members. They are fully covered under the town's insurance policy, and they do not need that endorsement. However, other town entities, for example, the school department, the community center, if they employ staff to provide transportation using those vans, they do need the endorsement. So the committee recommends allowing other town entities, such as the school department, to request the van use via a memorandum of agreement that will shift the burden of tracking the employees onto their employer, in that case, the school department. So that they are free to request use of the van at will. After an example MOA, based on a similar arrangement in East Greenwich, and that's been included for you. And our final recommendation is that the implementation of these procedures and agreements would best be managed by the town administrator and a van program coordinator to officially name that person. Those provided drafts provide a strong foundation for the town to oversee a fully compliant, transparent, and accessible community van program for the residents.
So thank you, Jonathan. As you know, the interlocal trust, our insurance, also recommend the following training and successfully completed: harassment, discrimination training, bloodborne pathogens training, basic first aid training, national safety council defensive training, DC4. Is that something that was talked about?
Yes, the policy includes all of those trainings for our volunteers. The committee felt it was a little bit too much to require that they go for the last option there, the defensive driver course, which is an in-person training that the trust does offer to its members. But making that a requirement when it's only a recommendation from the trust, we felt was a little bit much, since our volunteers are performing a great service and going a fair amount out of their way. So the way the policy is written, it certainly could be changed. We allowed for the option of signing up at no cost to the volunteer to go take that class, but it would be an optional additional training that they could take.
Town administrator, do you have anything to add?
Nope.
So I would make a motion that the town administrator come back, and she'll be overseeing this program. And bring something back maybe next meeting for us to codify.
Second.
John, was Mike Rocher or Barbara Rocher involved with this?
They were both members of the committee, yes.
Okay, very good. And since they're the ones that's been heading the program so far, I thought it was appropriate for them to.
Yep, both of them, as well as Mr. Mushin and Carol Wardell were on the committee, and all of them brought some great insights to various aspects of people who are already involved heavily in this program.
We had a good group there with those people.
Definitely.
Where I thank those people. So I thank those people. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Old business 2. See what is of interest for the recreation committee. How many do we have?
2.
We have 2. Can you set up interviews for those? I would suggest December 4th. If that's good with the rest of the committee.
Why don't we see how many people are there on conservation committee,
Okay.
and then we can set a time for both those meetings for the next meeting.
All right. So I'll go to old business 3. Receive letters of interest for the Conservation Commission, and drum roll, how many we have?
3.
We have 3, so that's 5. Should we set that up for December 4th? I say 6 o'clock.
Good for me.
Second,
All of them for 6 o'clock?
Oh,
Just,
an
I
hour.
mean, sequential for, yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna start at 6 though?
Yeah.
why don't we start with the recreation committee first, because they were the first on the agenda. Then we'll do the conservation commission next.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
You're saying all in favor, but who made the motion?
Larry made the motion.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay. Okay, in our agenda, I have 4 and 5. I'm gonna swap 4 and 5. Hope that doesn't confuse anyone out there today. I know it's a tough one.
Mr. President, I'm
Yes.
who's on 4 and 5.
You got it? Any objection to moving 4 and 5 from the council?
No objection.
Okay. 5, receive Harbor Commission recommendation to object private dock presented in RMC file 2025-0704 relating to 10 Minnesota Road. Do I have a motion?
I'm going to make a motion to support the Harbor Commission's objection as a procedural measure to allow for greater scrutiny of the application before CRMC, who has exclusive jurisdiction over residential docks.
Second.
We're in discussion. Any further discussion from the council?
I would just say that I appreciate all the input that we've received. We've heard from the Harbor Commission members, the harbor master, many neighbors, other residents, the applicants, their council. And I think these same people should have the opportunity to share their concerns with CRMC. So that's why I'm supporting the procedural measure.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we will do 4 now. Receive and allow execution of the attorney-client communication engagement agreement for the Harbor Commission from the Savage Law Partners LLP for CRMC matters. I will make a motion. Motion to pay the firm of Savage Law Partners for work done to date for the researching and drafting of a letter to CRMC setting forth the town's position in regard to the application of CRMC file 2025-07-044. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion from the council? Not seeing any?
I would request that the president of the Harbor Commission contact the lawyer and let him make sure that that letter gets to CRMC tomorrow, because tomorrow's the last day for comment.
I have contacted the lawyer already, and there's no need for you to do that. And I told him contingent upon this vote, that letter would go out.
Very good.
Did I say all in favor? Do you want to speak?
Second it.
I'm in discussion. Does anyone want to speak? I have 3, I've had extensive discussion of this last meeting. So I really don't, we would have an action today. So I'm happy to, if you want to, you've stood up, if you'd like to have 3 minutes, go ahead, sir. Just go to, let's see.
Morning, good evening, members of the council. It's Attorney Christopher McNally on behalf of the Ehrlichs, the petitioners for this matter. The Ehrlichs has requested an opportunity to read their letter into the record, if there's no objection from the
No
council.
objection at all. Mr. Ehrlich would like to read it. Okay.
Thank you very much. May it please the town council. My name is Tim Ehrlich, and I stand here before you today on behalf of myself and wife Isabella. For our application as property owners at 10 Minnesota Road to construct. Well, we understand and respect civic engagement. We submitted our letter in advance of this meeting to the council to address what we view as the unfortunate campaign of factual misstatements, conjecture, and mischaracterization circulated by others about our family, our property, and our intentions, and the outright hostility that has been shown to us by some members of the Little Compton community. We want to clarify the record with facts, including our history of respectful community involvement, the lawfulness of our requests, and specific issues pertaining to certain individuals who have opposed our application. Our proposed dock is firmly rooted in our longstanding riparian rights, which guarantee reasonable access to and use of the water adjacent to our property, including the right to wharf out to the water. These rights have long been recognized under Rhode Island law as fundamental to waterfront ownership and allow landowners to responsibly enjoy and preserve access to local waterways for personal and family use. In fact, the prior owners at 10 Minnesota Road established such access almost a decade ago by installing a private mooring in the house's riparian field, the first of its kind in Secundit Harbor at that time. The mooring and any boat that is attached to it has the potential to alter harbor flow just as much, if not more, than a dock would. Yet that action passed regulatory review without controversy and is now a well-established right which has since been utilized by our adjoining neighbor to establish her own mooring in front of her property. Our modest dock proposal does not exceed that historic impact. Our dock is entirely consistent with precedents set by our other shoreline abutters, including the substantial yacht club dock nearby and the enormous commercial dock facility that was built only a few decades ago in front of the Secana Point Club, which hosts a rotating cast of large boats throughout the year. Relatedly, it is important to note that statements recently made by the harbor master to the town council about, quote, renters tying up to our mooring and causing disturbance in Secana Harbor, false, misleading, and made without any evidence or basis in fact whatsoever. Those statements are completely inappropriate, especially in the context of these proceedings evaluating a private dock. And we believe they're designed solely to paint us and paint an accurate picture of us as negligent stewards of our property. We recognize and cherish the unique character of Secana Harbor, a place of natural beauty, community history, and recreational enjoyment for residents and visitors alike. It was our love of Little Compton and its unique characteristics that motivated us to purchase the properties at 10 and 9 Minnesota Road in 2020, after renting other cottages for about a decade, which had been owned by the same family for approximately 100 years. When we purchased the homes, they were in considerable disrepair. Rather than demolish the structures, which would have been easier, less expensive, and completely permissible, we made a deliberate and substantial investment to restore the property with historical accuracy and respect for the architectural character of Little Compton. Our restoration work was conducted transparently, with all necessary permits and approvals, and with the clear intention of preserving the integrity of the neighborhood. It is worth also noting that we maintained the exact same number of bedrooms and beds that existed during the 35 years of continuous rental prior to our ownership. Now, we recognize that change can be difficult to accept, especially in a small, tight-knit community such as Little Compton. But we, as the landowners, have the right to improve our property as we see fit, so long as the improvements comport with local and state regulation. In proposing this dock and filing the CRMC assent request at issue here, our intention has been to honor and maintain the historic atmosphere and visual integrity of the harbor, which, as we have stated previously, contained a lengthy dock in front of our property for several decades. The design and siting of our proposed dock have been carefully considered to minimize environmental impact and preserve wildlife habitats, and we seek to harmonize our presence with the well-established standards of stewardship. We believe it is imperative to address alleged concerns raised by community members in their letters to the Harbor Commission, the Town Council, and the CRMC opposing our plans. Put simply, most of the oppositional comments contained in those letters are based on conjecture, misinformation, and regrettably elements of bias. In some cases, as noted below, they appear to be motivated by personal animus towards our family rather than facts or law. Some characterize us as, quote, outsiders, or speculate about our motivations on the basis of residency or presumed economic background, which is irrelevant to whether the requested CRMC assent is allowable under Rhode Island law. Further, many objections hinge on speculation about short-term rentals and imagined disruptions without actual evidence. While some call into question the safety, quiet, and visual impact on Secana Harbor, they overlook our overt commitment to regulations and history of responsible use. Regrettably, the opposition letters often stray from the facts, relying on assumptions about our intentions and identity as property owners. In our continued effort to preserve civility in this process, I'm going here to attempt to address, rebut, and correct certain of these false statements and claims below, without naming the objectors in this correspondence. In several letters submitted to the town, it has been alleged that we, quote, rarely use the house, that we, quote, pack the home with renters to maximize profit, and that we own the house solely as a, quote, commercial real estate development. These claims are completely false. Our family uses the property regularly and meaningfully throughout the year. Our family resides in the home for the entire month of August, along with Isabella's parents, during Thanksgiving and Christmas, on weekends, and during other periods such as school vacations. Our current ability to use the house more regularly during the year is limited by the fact that we have 4 young children in school, and our weekends are consistently spent supporting their outside activities and interests, mostly in Massachusetts, where we have our primary home. Our family is also active in Little Compton community throughout the year, maintaining memberships in the Secana Paddle Club, the Secana Point Club, and the Secana Yacht Club, as has been noted in many of the letters written in opposition. While Isabella is indeed a licensed general contractor and has worked on properties in Rhode Island, including Little Compton, our family does not run a commercial home rental business, nor do we engage in real estate development. Our home is a family residence, used as such, and our conduct has remained fully compliant with all applicable regulations. Rental activity is limited, approximately 44 days annually, consisting primarily of 1 month in July and occasional weekends in June and September for local Little Compton families attending weddings. This is far less rental activity than what many of our abutting neighbors, which includes both private individuals and the Sakana Yacht Club, which rents its house for the entire summer, including to numerous of the people who wrote letters in opposition. We have submitted for your review an attachment with our letter, which shows all of the houses surrounding ours, which rent their property throughout the year so that you have this visual context. The suggestion that our dock would cause unique public safety risks or environmental harm ignores both the facts and the legal standards applied by state and local authorities. Rhode Island's regulations, like Little Compton's, demand rigorous review to ensure every project complies with CRMC policies, water classifications, safety standards, and public trust principles. Our intent is to construct the dock in a manner consistent with those expectations, preserving natural resources and harbor access for all. The dock would not increase noise, traffic, or environmental harm beyond what is typical for waterfront properties in this area. And every measure will be taken to ensure renters, if any, respect local ordinances and traditions. Our application is undergoing strict review, including assessments of safety, environment, and public trust, protecting the rights of all community members. In our last 2 public meetings in Little Compton, the refrain has often sounded protectionist, with a strong desire to deter non-resident utilization of Sakana Harbor and unsupported concerns of increased harbor usage and dangers presented to the harbor. Regarding non-resident use and increased use concerns, the proposal is for a private residential boating facility, not a public dock, boat ramp, or public access point. The proposed pier and float are intended and designed for use by our family and guests so that our family might access the water without having to navigate a rugged, stony shoreline. The dock would not extend far enough into the water to receive a boat. Only a kayak or small rowboat could access it. There is no mechanism by which this dock will increase access or use of the harbor. This dock is squarely in keeping with the designated and intended use of Type 5 water, a commercial and recreational harbor intended to support recreational boating and mixed-use harbor activities. A private residential pier with a float is precisely the water-dependent use contemplated by Type 5 waters. Regarding the unsupported safety concerns presented by letter writers and attendees of recent public hearings, the proposal at hand has been designed by a professional Rhode Island licensed engineer and is designed for the conditions anticipated at the proposed location. That design must account for wave loading, wind forces, pile capacities, and all relevant coastal standards. This project must comply with these standards prior to issuance of any assent. Unsubstantiated assertions by lay members of the community that the structure will fail are frankly offensive, speculative, and contrary to the engineering requirements mandated by CRMC. Further, Sakana Harbor already contains substantial storm-exposed infrastructure, including the town dock, private club facilities, and numerous ward vessels. A single professionally engineered, seasonally removable residential dock represents a minimal and managed incremental exposure when compared to existing harbor assets. CRMC's regulatory approach is risk management through engineering and conditions, not prohibiting low-impact residential structures. It would be in everyone's best interest to allow the professional scientists and engineers engaged in this assent application and its review to determine the feasibility and approval of the assent application. Unfortunately, it is also necessary to address numerous contradictions in the statements submitted by a few disgruntled abutters. One abutter submitted a letter to CRMC claiming, among other falsehoods, that we, quote, allow renters to host parties. In addition to those statements being inaccurate, because our rental agreement expressly prohibits parties of any kind, we find it uniquely ironic because this objector is the only guest of our home since we purchased it who has ever held a formal party there. In 2021, we generously gave this objector the use of our entire property, including the houses at both 9 and 10 Minnesota Road at no charge, which is in the thousands of dollars, so that they could host over 20 family members and friends for their daughter's wedding. They then proceeded to host their daughter's rehearsal dinner on the front lawn of our property at 10 Minnesota for over 50 guests, without ever asking us for permission to do so, and in direct violation of our house policy. We must also address the numerous letters submitted by another Little Compton resident who is not an abutter, but an occasional tenant renting a nearby property during the summer, and who seems to have made it a personal mission to try to harass, humiliate, and intimidate us. In multiple different inflammatory letters submitted to the town council, Harbor Commission, CRMC, and literally whoever else in the community will listen, This objector seems bent on doing everything possible to malign us, including relying on a wide variety of different arguments to oppose our plans for a dock. These accusations include making false statements that we are real estate developers and quote, wealthy real estate speculators, that we have quote, no connection to our town. And our dock would extend the quote, revolving door chaos that we create with our summer renters to the water off the rocks in the front of our house. This objector, it should be pointed out, has made similarly unfounded arguments about us and our home rentals to the town's building inspector in 2021. Apparently, in an attempt to limit our rental activity and to regulate what was personally viewed as distasteful behavior on our property. Since the letters have escalated in hostility and frequency, reflecting personal retaliation rather than any legitimate concern for the community. It is also worth noting that their directed and incessant complaints about us began only after we kindly asked them not to use our private lawn as a shortcut to visit the homes of their friends that live near our property. It warrants mention that while trespass across this property may have been tolerated by the previous owners, whom did not reside on the property and only rented it to summer visitors, it is our prerogative to preserve our right to privacy and dissuade trespassing on private property. We had assumed Little Compton to be a welcoming community, which did not see new owners as quote, not from here. What we have experienced is sadly the opposite. And we are compelled to add that the hostility towards us by some is at times frightening to us. The pattern of behavior directed at us since we asserted our property rights has been targeted in effect, threatening in tone, and unacceptable. History offers numerous examples, Martha's Vineyard among them, where new and diverse families faced exclusion and intimidation through property-related disputes and neighbor-driven campaigns. We raise this parallel not lightly, but because the impact on our family, and particularly our children, has been significant. No family should feel unsafe, singled out, or demeaned for any reason. Finally, we affirm our dedication to preserving the atmosphere of Secana Harbor, including its visual, ecological, and communal values. We fully support and comply with all required environmental assessments and are committed to ongoing dialogue with our neighbors and community leaders. Our goal is not only personal enjoyment, but also the responsible stewardship expected of all who love Secana Harbor. Our family has acted with transparency, respect, and full compliance with the law since the day we purchased our home. The claims made against us are false, contradictory, rooted in personal retaliation rather than in fact. At the core of this situation is a principle that should be entirely uncontroversial. It is our legal and fundamental right to use and enjoy our own property without trespass, harassment, intimidation, or misrepresentation. The controlling consideration should be compliance with regulations and the public interest, not conjecture about rental practices, backgrounds, or stereotypes. We ask that the town council judge this application solely on its legal merits, and we'll make the same arguments to CRMC based on legal merits, factual compliance, and the standards of responsible development, not on speculation, misinformation, or unfair bias. Thank you for your attention and for your ongoing dedication to protecting the rights and interests of all Little Compton property owners. We remain available to provide the town council and CRMC with additional information, including documentary and video evidence that support all of our statements in this letter, and to answer any other questions you may have about our proposal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Arwood. Going to go on now to ordinance excuse me, 5A. Receive letters of support and opposition for CRMC file 2025-07044 relating 10 Minnesota Road, Little Compton. I'm going to make a motion for the clerk to forward all letters, all correspondence, all diagrams, all movies, anything that was sent in, because there was a stack of it, to the CRMC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. 6, request from planning board to accept amended Unified Development Review,
Let me,
DR application. I have Victoria's name on here for some reason, and the sister's name on here. Talk about request from planning board to accept amended Unified Development Review, your application. Gary, am I putting you on this one too?
I'll speak on it when we make a motion.
Okay,
I'll kick us off with a motion.
kick it out.
Okay. Make a motion to add the Unified Development Review application to the subdivision rules and regulations.
I'll second the motion. We are in discussion. Who would like to start it? Ladies first?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll just say, as I understand it, I'm the liaison to the planning board, so I sat in on a lot of meetings related to this. But my understanding is that the Unified Development Review, also known as UDR, is part of legislation that was passed by the General Assembly a couple of years ago. Its intention is to streamline permitting processes. It allows the planning board to review subdivision applications and grant or not related zoning relief. It essentially removes a step in the process of approval.
Victoria's statements are correct. If you have any questions about UDR, I'd be happy to answer them. What the planning board has done here is to make sure that applicants have an appropriate application to file. They've come up with this language. It's something they will use if there is a unified development plan review application. And I think it's appropriate for inclusion.
So, again, is the state putting stuff on us that they don't think the towns, cities can take care of their own towns? And I look at Providence and what's going on in the legislature, and I think they should take care of their own backyard before they start coming to us. And the other thing that I have a problem with this, gives an awful lot of power to the planning board for denying an application without merit, as far as I'm concerned. So I think the process we had before, if there was a problem with, they went to the zoning board and they alleviated the problem at the zoning board. Now that check and balance isn't going to be in here. So
That's correct, but it's the law.
yeah.
Further discussion on this one? I have a motion. I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. Old business 7, follow up on draft proposal for a homestead exemption. I'm gonna make a motion here. I'm gonna make a motion to direct the town solicitor to draft an appropriate resolution and finalize the proposed homestead exemption legislation to be forwarded to Little Compton legislative delegation, the Rhode Island House and Senate, for filing in the 2026 General Assembly session.
Second.
Any further discussion on this one? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Just to put a cherry on top of the sundae. I really feel I have to do this for your next meeting so that you can approve it and send it out. That will keep you on the timeline that we discussed earlier about getting this perhaps submitted pre-filing, and that'll speed the process along, make it easier for your legislative delegation.
Thank you. New business 1, townwide transition to .gov domain. Chief Information Officer Gabriel, do you have something to say on this?
I have even more to say.
Okay, go ahead and say.
Hello again. Thank you for staying. I thought that's why everybody was here to hear this one. Yes, there were a few people who weren't. That's okay. Thank you to everybody who is here and everybody listening remotely. Starting on January 1st, 2026, we are bringing all of our town core services under the unified domain of littlecompton.gov. Yay. That means everywhere from town hall to the DPW to the police and fire departments who are currently on different domains. If you've ever emailed them, you'll have a single and secure place to connect with all of us. So why are we doing this? First question, it's about confidence and safety primarily. Being a .gov domain is something that only verified government entities can actually obtain and use. So when you see that as part of your email or on a website, you know for sure you're talking to somebody who is a town employee. Excuse me. It's a big step in making sure all of our communications are secure and transparent. Also about bringing the town's services together. For the first time ever, we'll all be unified in one system, meaning we're breaking down old barriers and making it easier for departments to share resources and have redundancies and support each other. It's going to be a more cohesive town-wide system that we're really excited to kind of leverage and grow into over time. Our old addresses, any way you've contacted us in the past, those will keep working indefinitely. So if you have addresses saved in your contacts list, those keep working. It's just a new way to reach us. It will become our primary identity on that date. Our website will change over, but all of this old stuff still works. So total continuity of business and services there. And this also opens the door to a lot of new improvements. So we centralize device updates and management to tighten our security even further. This opens us up to leveraging the latest antivirus and network traffic inspections, top of the line authentications and encryptions to make sure both our staff are protected, but all of our residents' data is as secure as possible, both in storage, in transit, anytime we're communicating with you. One more thing on the horizon, somewhat tied to that. We're also going to be launching a community type of bulletin or listserv, so that residents will be able to subscribe and get regular updates delivered to your email. So you can stay in the loop about town meetings, events, important announcements, all kind of under that theme of making our services more accessible and community focused. So in short, come the new year, you'll find us at littlecompton.gov with more security, a little bit more unity, and a brand new way to keep up with what's going on.
Not the promise.
We'll be there.
So we're gonna have a listserv, folks, so no one ever is gonna have to say, I didn't know about that. Where do I find that?
Thank you, Jonathan.
Right, Jonathan? Every question will be answered for the.
Delivered right to your inbox eventually with the goal of customizing it even so you can really stay up to date.
Optimization,
Different subcommittees and boards and commissions.
commissions, boards, yeah. Thank you, Jonathan. New business two. Recommendation from Harbor Commission to increase mooring fees. If the council is in favor, I'm happy to make a motion, set up a public hearing on this issue. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any further discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Heather, will you take care of that?
Yes.
Thank you. New business three, appoint Paul Gombeski to the Wilbur Woods Committee. I'm happy to make that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you for volunteering for that, Paul. Four, discuss and act on memorandum of understanding with the civil engineer and resilience advisor. Planning consultant Kim Jacobs to assist the town as the engineering technical advisor to design permitting work associated with improving Little Compton Town Commons Resiliency Grant Project. I have the town manager and Chief Petrin. I don't see Petrin though. Is he here? Town manager Anya, can you bring us up to date on this one?
Sure. So I think you've heard about this before, since there was a grant that was applied for and received to support the work proposed, including the work that Kim Jacobs would do. Kim Jacobs is familiar to you all. She's done a bunch of projects for us. The impetus for this project was a concern on the part of Chief Petrin about the availability of water in the event of a fire in the area of the Commons. Historically, we have used the Ponderosa and Dunderry Brook, which feeds the Ponderosa, as a source of water for fire suppression needs in the town commons area. This project will improve the availability of water from those sources. Have gotten plants and silt and who knows what else over time. So there will be a cleanup of the pond so that the water flows freely. They have also thrown into this project an assessment of the Meeting House Lane culvert to see if that needs to be upsized to mitigate flooding that sometimes happens down there. There will be a separate, in addition to this agreement with Kim Jacobs that you're reviewing, there's a separate small contract with Carol Lynn Trocki so that there's no adverse impact from the work and or the brook in terms of animal life, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Do you have any? Thank you for getting up to speed so quickly on that. Has it been 7 days?
Yeah, it has.
8 maybe?
Yeah,
Thank you.
I did that for 5 though.
Thank you for that. Do we need to vote on that memorandum of understanding?
You do.
Motion to allow the council president to sign this. memorandum of understanding.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. New business 5, request for police chief to purchase a 2026 police cruiser. We have the chief here, and I know Anya in her 7 days has been working on this also.
Thank you, Mr. President. Hopefully my presentation's just as exciting as Jonathan's was. Absolutely, you can get glad to. So we're asking to purchase a new police cruiser. Historically, over the last 6 years I've been here, we've purchased one car per year. With the fiscal situation as of late, that was taken out of this year's budget. However, we're looking at a new funding source for the vehicle. And come up with what we have is what we call a detailed cruiser account. For every private detail that we schedule out for construction, paving, you've seen the cars around town during tree removal, et cetera. There's a $20 per hour fee that comes back to the police department for maintenance of the vehicles. Over the last couple of years, that account has grown. We've done a lot of construction here in town, obviously with all the paving and the commons projects. And that is now up to $41,500. We also have an expected deposit of $33,600 coming to us as a result of the new legislation that was passed in June of this year regarding reimbursement of public safety training. One of our newer officers just laterally transferred to the town of Tiverton Police Department. So as a result of that statute, we are able to now bill the town of Tiverton for the hiring and training of that police officer, which includes testing prior to the academy and then the 5 months expenses that are included in the academy, equipment, uniforms, salary and benefits. That number came out to just a little over $33,000. So those two numbers together placed into that detailed cruiser account will have $75,000. I have a current and 2-day-old quote for a total of $63,682 for the car. That it's complete with graphics and upfitting. And I can say that these continue to go up. The first car I purchased here in 2019, I looked it up, was $38,000. Then I go up to that 63 mark. And this is we could do a lot more. You could put a lot more lights on it, but $63,000 is probably about the minimum that we're going to need.
Chief, how many vehicles do you have in the fleet?
So what we utilize are 2 main patrol vehicles that are running basically 24 hours a day between the 2 shifts. We have 3 administrative cars, myself, the deputy chief, and the detective, assigned detective. And then we have 4 spare cruisers. 2 are solely just used for road details. We won't put police officers in them to use them for patrol. They're good to drive to one spot, turn the lights on and leave them there pretty much. And we're trying to maintain those as long as we can. The other 2 spares we use to supplement our frontline patrol cars when they're down. And unfortunately, over the last 6 months, we've had 3 separate deer strikes on 3 separate cruisers. So now I lose frontline cars for say 4 to 6 weeks while they're at auto body. We're piling miles on spares and our fleet's kind of getting a little old. It's in good condition right now. I like to see it in very good condition, and purchasing this new vehicle is going to be able to keep the officers safe. It'll keep our maintenance fees down, our spending on maintaining the vehicles. It'll keep that down. So we're hoping to be able to get another car.
And when you say that you historically have had one new purchase in the fiscal year budget for your department, do you transition out one, or do you sort of keep the same net?
We have in the past, I'd say half the time we have actually traded in a car. At this point, we don't have a car that I'd like to trade in. We're still able to. Those 2 cars that we use just for details are almost ready for trade-in. I wouldn't trade them in this time. One of those will probably go in next year.
Okay.
We do have a 2018 Cruiser that's still in line, still got a little life left in it. I'd like to keep it.
Thank you.
May I ask Chief Rain's question? Chief, is this an MPA purchase?
Yes, it is. We're part of the Greater Boston Police Commission. So all of those, we pay a small fee to be, dues each year to be part of that. And the company that we utilize for the upfitting, ITS, which is in Warren, honors the master price agreement.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve this purchase.
I'll second that motion.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Chief Raines for looking outside the box and trying to find funding for his department without using taxpayers' funding. And also, I always had a real problem when we hire somebody, either a fire department personnel or a police officer, we have to send them to the academy. And as the chief said, other aspects of that cost the town $30,000, and that, once he goes through the academy, he's ripe to laterally to another police or fire department, which costs the town an awful lot of money. I tried to institute something where we could get some of that money back from the applicant, but it never came to fruition. So I'm glad now the state is finally doing something for the towns. So thank you very much, Chief.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. New business. 6. Accept a letter of resignation from Nelson Cabot effective January 1st, 2026. The Little Compton Agricultural Conservancy Trust.
Motion to accept this resignation with regret and have the town council president write a letter. Thank you, and advertise this position.
Yep. I'll second the motion. I'd be more than happy to write a letter to Rusty. He's an outstanding individual and has done a great job. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Board of Licenses Commissioners, none. Communications, request from Triple Deuce LLC DBA Seb's Woodfire Oven for a mobile food establishment license. For a mobile cart in Little Compton. You gonna do it, Gary? How you?
Yeah, I can do it. I was just wondering, don't we have a cap on mobile food establishments?
Well, you have a number of 5 in the code, but that has been
We've blown by that. Yeah.
time ago.
Motion to approve with all necessary state and local ordinances adhered to requirements.
I'll second it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Not seeing any. Thanks. 2, email received from Manny Capellan, Policy Associate, Local Government for Airbnb.
Motion to place on file.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
3, request for a holiday sales license received from Gamine Company LLC for sales out of the Spite Tower or Westport Road in Adamsville.
Motion to approve with all local and state requirements adhered to.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
4, request from What's Up Cupcake for a mobile food establishment license for renewal of a mobile cart in Little Compton. Got one more in you, Gary?
Yeah, motion to approve. I was looking at something else. Motion to approve this license with all state and local ordinances or requirements adhered to.
I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Consent, non-payment of bills.
Motion to pay the bills is written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I will receive a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank
Comment.
you.
So, Mrs. Lasik, you have a high school friend here today. Have you ever seen him? There's a high school friend. And he's my friend. Where? Stand up.
Where is my mouth?
It's gonna be 4 or 5 months.